Man, I got blood on my shield. That's not coming out. Hi, I'm Phil. Welcome to my channel where I talk about all the geeky pop culture that I love, enjoy, and consume. Things like Doctor Who, things like the Arrowverse, and the MCU, which is what we're talking about today. We are talking about Falcon and the Winter Soldier, episode 4. We're over the halfway point because there's only 6 episodes of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, unlike WandaVision's 9, so a slightly shorter run. We're over halfway. And this episode is called The World is Watching. And boy, was the world watching at the end there. We will get to the end. The very, very dramatic ending there. The very... Wow, what an ending. We'll get to it. This is going to be a spoiler review, so if you haven't watched the episode, do go away, check that out and come back. I will be mentioning things that happen in the episode, so if you don't want to be spoiled, go away, watch it first. We start off this episode with a nice little flashback to Wakanda. It's nice to see Wakanda. We got, obviously, the lady from the I can never pronounce what are they called? I can never remember this. Doge. I should have written it down. Doja Marie or something? Oh, I can't remember. Let me know in the comments below what they're called. The warrior women of Wakanda. Them. They, one of them arrived. I can't even remember her name. I should take better notes. But she arrived at the beginning of the end of the last episode, and at the beginning of this episode, we get a nice little scene set in Wakanda of her sort of completing Bucky's deprogramming, which was a lovely, heartfelt scene. Bucky got very emotional at the fact that, she was able to say all of the trigger words and he not be triggered into the Winter Soldier. So that was a lovely, touching scene. Sort of, he was obviously very, very happy that he had achieved this. And it set up nicely the relationship, that there was this existing relationship between the two of them. Not just because he's been in the country, but she was actually part of the process of him being deprogrammed. I thought that was quite nice. And then we go straight into her little chat with Bucky back in the present day, where she's the future as far as we're concerned. This is 2023. But the present of the series, where she's having the chats with him about the fact that she wants Zemo. And that's where we get introduced to this sort of ticking clock of the episode, which adds a little bit of a sort of tenseness to the proceedings, because she gives him 8 hours to use Zemo for however she needs before she turns up to just take him. So we already sort of set up that we're going to probably see her and maybe some more of the warrior women of Wakanda. Warrior women of Wakanda. Nice little bit of alliteration there. That's what they should be called. WWW, Warrior Women of Wakanda. I'm liking again this interaction that Zemo has with Bucky and Sam. There's this kind of this is very I don't know how to describe it, but it's a very fun to watch relationship that they're building up. This kind of dynamic between the three of them. This kind of teasing. It was teasing between Bucky and Sam. It's a kind of, I don't know. Zemo he's very watchable. I mean, he's a bad guy, but he's a very watchable bad guy. I like when he refers to the groups of people. One of the lines I really liked was when he referred to the groups of people, and he refers to Nazis, people being supremacists, and the kind of mindset that leads to it, and you end up with Nazis and something else, and Avengers, he says, and then Sam says, that's our friends you're talking about, and Bucky says, the Avengers, not the Nazis. Nice, I like that line. It was made me giggle. Interestingly, when they're looking for the leader of the Flag Smashers and they go to that place in Latvia where they think they might pick up some clues, maybe somebody could tell them where that woman's funeral is that Carly will be at, Bucky and Sam fail miserably about getting any information off of anybody. Nobody trusts them. But they go straight to the adults, and they're trying to talk to the adults, trying to get information from the adults. Zemo is a bit more thoughtful about it, and he stands watching them as they go off and stuff, and then sort of observes the kids and realizes that's the way in, and uses his sort of knowledge. He has his own kids that were killed in Sokovia, which is what started this whole thing back in Age of Ultron, started his journey. And he gets the information from the kids, and initially he says it's our little secret to the kid. So I felt like he wasn't going to tell. He was going to just keep this information to himself and somehow betray them at some point. But one thing that keeps happening with Zemo, and I quite like, is that, yeah, he positions himself so that he has information they will need, like this, but he never so far, and I'm kind of still expecting it to happen at some point, but so far he's never outrightly betrayed them. He has said what he plans to do. He said he plans to kill Karli. He wants to kill Karli. He says he wants to destroy the Super-Soldier Serum. So when he does those things, that doesn't feel like a betrayal, because he's been quite upfront about the fact that that's what he wants to do. And he's helping them because that will also help achieve his aims. But he's never outrightly betrayed them. And every time you think, like last episode when he ran off, you thought, oh, okay, he's gone off to do his own thing. But then he comes back and saves them. And then this episode, again, you think, okay, he's got that information for himself. Now he's going to betray them, leave them, and do his own thing completely independently. But what he does is he's keeping that information to protect himself so that he can get help being protected from the Wakandans. Because if he gives it up straight away, they have no use for him anymore. And that's it. So I kind of like the fact that he does eventually give the information to them. And it kind of really fits with his character and his MO and his own philosophy of how he sees the world. We get a little bit of Sharon again. They phone her up for help. I didn't mention this in last week's review, but I think my theory is that Sharon is the power broker. The way she was last week when the scientist got killed, some of her personality changes, or personality development since the Winter Soldier stuff and the Civil War stuff, and just generally the kind of vibe I'm getting from her, it feels like she might be, and in this episode, she's very clear. She says, the way she phrases things seems very deliberate. She says the power broker is very annoyed about the situation. But maybe she's saying that because she is the power broker, she knows it, but she obviously doesn't want her friends to know that she's the power broker, so she's phrasing things in very deliberate ways. It's a theory, but I think we might be onto something there. Anyway, it was nice to see her again, however briefly. Now, going back to the Flag Smashers, I saw a Twitter thread that was quite interesting, talking about how American, particularly cinema and TV and just sort of American narratives, tend to, if they have a sympathetic villain in any sorts, they need us to, they create a situation where we start to empathize a lot with the villains, with the supposed villains of the series, like we were here up until the end of last week. I mean, we still are a little bit, but Karli is a very sympathetic figure. Her goals are very sympathetic goals. They are, in fact, quite good goals. And I'm sorry, I can't remember the name of the person that did this Twitter thread, but it was basically pointing out that when you've got a villain like that, the drive of the sort of impetus of the writers is always to then make them do something despicable because they need us to not completely empathize with them. And in a way that undermines their cause. So it's almost as if they're setting up this good cause deliberately to undermine it, and therefore people go, oh, well, obviously that wouldn't work. It was a very interesting thread. Loads of people retweeted it. I think I did. If you want to check it out, go and have a look. It was a lot of very interesting thoughts, I thought. We get a bit more of John Walker, the new Captain America, in this episode as well. We are, even at the beginning of the episode, we're starting to see his more aggressive side here. He is getting royally pissed off that things aren't going his way when he wants them to. And this plays into a lot of scenes. But they do still, especially in this early part, mix it in with things that are relatable and things that maybe give us a bit of sympathy towards him and maybe feel, okay, he's not all bad. He's not the villain at this point. We will get to the ending in a minute. But he at one point says, don't patronize me. to, I think it's Sam or Bucky, I can't remember which, but he says it to one of them. He seemingly has this sort of inferiority complex, this imposter syndrome about his role as Captain America. He doesn't feel he necessarily gets all of the respect he deserves. As we see in a scene later on, he gets some of the sort of celebrity admiration. People come up to him and ask for their autographs, but that's not really what he's about. And I think it's been shown in the more sympathetic scenes, like the locker room scene at the beginning of the second episode, that he really does, and in this episode where he talks to Battlestar about about their experience in Afghanistan and wanting to do what is right now, do something that's really morally good, because they had to do some questionable things in Afghanistan following orders, and that doesn't sit right with him, and he wants to now make up for it by being this symbol of morality and sort of redeem himself. So he has this sort of this attitude, but the people that he really wants respect from don't give it to him. The heroes don't respect him as Captain America. They patronize him, they think they know better than him, and he does not like that. They don't do things his way. And I like the way they thread that throughout the episode. It comes up again when the Dormelage, that's it. I did write it down on the other page. Dormelage fight Cap. Dormelage, aka the Wakanda Warrior Women, WWW. Because they really do just beat him down, and they don't talk to him with the respect that he thinks he deserves. They don't, he points out they don't have any jurisdiction, and they just basically sort of brush him aside and go, we don't care about your jurisdiction. We have jurisdiction wherever we go. And, he's very much a by the books type person, kind of. Well, kind of. And that leads into a kick-ass fight scene, really good, between the Dormelage and initially the new John Walker and Battlestar. But eventually, Bucky and Falcon do join in to stop the Dormelage just killing him. So, because he is getting his ass handed to him here, left, right, and centre. It was a great fight, brilliantly choreographed. I really like the bit where one of the warrior women, the main one, again, I've forgotten her name, she does something like to Bucky's arm, just like pressing some points, and then the arm just falls off. And Bucky's just left standing there going like, oh, I can't believe you did that. Basically, that's the look on his face. Great fight scene, brilliant humour moments, and really important for this character development of John Walker, where he's left at the end of the fight really deflated and really cut up, and he says to Battlestar at some point, they're not even super soldiers. He got beat down by people that aren't even super soldiers. They're not enhanced. He isn't. It's at this point that he is really starting to want the Super-Soldier Serum, I think. I think it was actually before this that he got hold of the Super-Soldier Serum, because when Sam is trying to... We get a scene where Sam is trying to sort of connect with Carly. He goes in to talk to her and he's going to try and talk her down, and it's going really well. They seem to be connecting, but then of course John Walker barges in and it all goes to hell, and Carly thinks Sam has betrayed her, and it was just a trap the whole time. And then we get this sort of scene where everything goes a bit crazy. There's a fight and they all split up, and it ends up with Zemo confronting Carly, shooting at her. Carly drops all of the spare Super-Soldier Serum she's got onto the floor, and Zemo, again, as I said earlier, very true to his own philosophy and his own, we know where he stands. He smashes those bottles. He doesn't attempt to use them. He doesn't attempt to steal them for himself. He starts smashing them on the floor, but John Walker comes along and knocks him unconscious before he finishes. There is one vial left, and John Walker pockets it. And he hasn't taken it by the time of the fight with the Dormelage, but by the time... then later on we get a scene between him and Battlestar, just sort of hanging out after all this has gone down, where he's really contemplating the sort of weighing up the pros and cons of taking the Super-Soldier Serum. He doesn't tell Battlestar that he's got it, but he's asking Battlestar, would you take it? And Battlestar's sort of assuring him that he would be a good person to take it. John Walker would be a good person to take it. He's got these medals. And that's where the conversation about Afghanistan comes up as well. Again, this scene is really important for showing us that this isn't a two-dimensional, he's bad guy, he's asshole. He's a guy that has the best intentions, but has some personality flaws, which, like, frustration and just how things are going for him are having an effect on him that will, at the end of the episode, top over to devastating effects. Because Carly, the Flag Smasher leader, comes up with a plan to separate Sam from Captain America so that her team can then kill Captain America. That's what they feel they need to do. She doesn't want to kill Sam. She kind of feels Sam as a kindred spirit in terms of, the political philosophy. Sam doesn't disagree with what they're trying to do necessarily, just disagrees with their methods. And so she lures him for a chat. Bucky goes with him, but via his sister, which was a nice way to bring the sister back into it again, I guess, and also sort of link into Sam's own personal issues that he's got going on back home. And then while he's there, her team attack Black Star and Captain America. Sharon Carter manages to let them know. Bucky and Sam know about this, and they rush off back to help them. But the fight hasn't been going well. Black Star's been tied up. There's lots of things going on. But it seems that Cap has taken the Super-Soldier Serum. And I wasn't quite clear. Maybe I wasn't watching it close enough. Maybe it was just the fast, frenetic pace of it. But I wasn't quite clear if he had taken it before that fight had even started, or if he took it once he realised Black Star had been taken. I think it makes a more interesting character story if he takes it once Black Star has been taken, because he's doing it because he wants to save his friend. Again, it makes him more sympathetic, which we can then tear down in the next 5 minutes or so. But to build that sympathy up to then tear it down is good, but I don't think that was necessarily quite clear in how it was framed. And then in the fight, Carly kills Black Star by kicking him with her super soldier powers across the room. He hits a column, and it kills him outright. And you can just see the shock and the gears ticking in John Walker's head as he notices this, runs over to his friend, and it's quite a touching moment. And his eyes go from sort of shock to sort of filled with anger, and he charges out after them. And he doesn't find Carly. He doesn't find Carly, the one that killed his friend. He finds another one of the Flag Smashers, beats him to the ground, says, where is she? And all he says is, it wasn't me, because he didn't kill his friend. And John Walker, in front of a crowd of people, literally smashes this guy's head in with his shield. Oh, that was a powerful scene. The fall of a man who has always been flawed, always had these anger issues, but had his heart kind of in the right place, but clearly did not have the right temperament and personality to take on that responsibility, and it got to him, and oh my word. So, like, what's going to happen now? Is he going to go on full-on bad guy, or is he going to hand himself in and give up the shield? That will be the true, test. Will he realise he's the bad guy now? Will he realise what he's done is unforgivable and disgusting? And in front of there's literally no going back from this. He is in front of a whole crowd of people with camera phones who are filming away at what he's doing. The world, he's not going to be getting anybody coming up to him and asking for autographs anymore. People were going to be scared of him. and rightly so. I've been really, really interested in the character arc of this person, seeing this flawed person who has sort of these issues of imposter syndrome and stuff bubbling to the surface to the point where he snaps because his friend has been killed and this happens. And just that image at the end of him holding the shield with the blood on the bottom, and it was a really powerful image to end it on, and really interested to see what happens next week. I thought this was a fantastic episode, possibly the best one yet of the series. What did you think? Let me know in the comments below. What do you think of John Walker's character arc in this series? What do you think of what's going on? What do you think of Sharon? Do you think she's the power broker? Let me know in everything of your thoughts. That's not a proper sentence, but you get what I mean in the comments below. Thank you very much. I will be back next week for another Falcon and the Winter Soldier review, where we'll be at the penultimate episode. And I'll probably have some more MCU content coming soon as well. I've got some things planned. They're just taking a little time to come to fruition. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon. Goodbye.